What is going on, everybody? ZyoniK here, and in today's video, I'm going to be using Guzzlord for the first time in the Great League. This last weekend, I was in Liverpool for the regional championship tournament for the Play Pokemon series. A lot of fantastic battlers showed up, the biggest EU tournament that we had yet to date in terms of regionals, and Annihilape and Dugong came through strong as Nighttime Clasher was able to take down Tomahawk UK in the championship. So shout out to Nighttime Clasher for that. But I got my Guzzlord there from a trade actually from Tomahawk UK. So shout out to him. We're going to be using it. We're pairing it with Shadow Muck and Dugong. Alright, getting into the first battle, we have Shadow Muck versus whiscash. Terrible matchup. We're going to go ahead and swap out right away into that Dugong. Look to get ahead on energy, and they bring in Charge Bug as well. This is like double bad, but thankfully Dugong is extremely tanky when you apply those Icy Wind debuffs, so I'm going to look to take this into the ones, maybe into the twos, and then see what we can do from there. So we're going to go ahead and go for Icy Wind, and now I am a little bit ahead on energy compared to the Charge Bug, so this is actually going to be pretty good pacing for me, as I'm going to be able to get to this next Icy Wind in time. This is critical, because now I'm going to be getting a shield back from my opponent, while also applying the second Icy Wind debuff. So this is where things are going to get a bit close. We're going to go ahead and shield the discharge. We're going to look to see if we can get to that next Icy Wind in time, and we don't unfortunately get there. But Dugong, ladies and gentlemen, is so bulky, we are able to survive and get this Icy Wind. This is going to be getting the final shield. Now, or I get switch here, right? But we do get the final shield. We're going to see if we can fast move down, but we don't. Unfortunately, we do go down to Volt Switch. So we didn't get switch, but we did get all shield. So I'm going to come in with Muck, get a little bit of energy, and then I'm going to swap into Guzzlord right away. They're deciding to stay in with whiscash, maybe trying to soften me up before they bring in a maybe more neutral matchup, as the Mud Bomb doesn't do that much damage. And then we're going to see what they do have in the back, but they don't swap out. So I'm wondering if they're actually extremely weak to Guzzlord, as the Dragon Claw here is going to do a decent amount of chip damage, and this is going to come down to the wire. It doesn't look great unless they have a second answer for Shadow Muck in the back, but they don't. They swap into Bronzong, and this is why Guzzlord can be so crucial. Brutal Swing here is going to be doing super effective damage. They are going to go ahead and, well, they have to let it go, but I don't think they can farm me down in time before I get to another, maybe a Dragon Claw right there, so they decide to throw the energy, which is perfectly fine, because now Muck is going to be coming in, and this is where things get really dangerous. Muck is having to face off against a Bronzong and a whiscash. So now we're going to be racing to the charge move against the whiscash, as the Thunder Bunch is going to be taking out the Bronzong, and now it's just going to be a race, and we do get to the Dark Pulse in time, so that is going to be a good game. Very well played. Super close one right there. Muck had no business winning that game whatsoever, but we were able to get it, so good battle. Alright, moving into the next one, Shadow Muck on the lead versus Bastiodon. So this is a tough one, and we face off against a few Bastiodon teams today, and they pair well with Shadow Victorybell and Wigglytuff. So that's what we're likely going to be seeing here. So what I'm going to try to do is soften up the Bastiodon by going for a few Dark Pulses. Then we're going to bring in that Dugong. So I'm going to go ahead and go for another one. And then we're going to have to probably shield the Stone Edge if they decide to throw into the Dugong, which is totally fine. But I chunk a good amount of health there on Bastiodon, and they will decide to throw. Totally fine. I'm going to go ahead and give up a shield. It's probably going to be Shadow Victorybell or Wigglytuff that does come in, because I have seen it a lot, and it is going to be the Wigglytuff, which is totally fine. This is a beautiful mid-game matchup for us. The Icy Winds are going to do quite a bit of damage. And what's fantastic as well is, since they did come in with Wigglytuff, that frees up Guzzlord in the back. If there was a fighter, maybe an Annihilape, maybe a Poliwrath sitting back there, it would have come into the Dugong, right? And that would have been a lot more difficult of a game. But if it is Shadow Victorybell in the back, Guzzlord is going to be gobbling that thing up, right? So we're going to go ahead and look to no shield here. I think I can survive the charge move. I'm going to try my best to get to one more Icy Wind, which we do. Perfect. This gets us switch advantage, or it gets us the 1-0 shield scenario, and they're opting to maintain switch, so we will be going down. Now we can come in with our Shadow Muck here, look to Poison Jab down, or I can come in with Guzzlord and Dragon Tail, but I'm going to come in with the Muck because I had a feeling they had another charge move ready to go. We're going to be resisting, or it's not resisting, it's Icy Wind, but we do fast move down. We bring in the Guzzlord now into the Bastiodon, and then there is the Shadow Victreebel met with the bulky Dragon defensives here on Guzzlord, and this is going to be a good game. Guzzlord is a tank. If that didn't give anything away based on its size, it is an HP sponge, health point sponge. So what we're going to do here is just go straight brutal swing now against the Bastiodon. We still have the 1-0 shield scenario. Bastiodon doesn't get to a charge move very quickly, nor can the smackdowns take us out in time. So that is going to be a good game, very well played. Alright, moving to the next one, we have Shadow Muck versus Shadow Victorybell. Well, this is pretty good. Poison Jabs are going to be doing a lot of damage, and I don't know what they have in the back, but, I mean, come on, you see a Shadow Victorybell, you know there's probably going to be a Bastiodon. So this could be a different formation to the team we just faced off against. And that team can run in a lot of different variations. We land the Dark Pulse, they let it go, they come in with Bastiodon, I'm like, there is a Wigglytuff in the back. So we come in with Dugong to draw it out. The Bastiodon can't really stay in here too long because it needs to align itself back to Shadow Muck. So what my opponent is likely going to do is try to get a shield with Stone Edge or build up a ton of energy. They decide to swap now into Wigglytuff, and this is checkmate. Why? Guzzlord is hiding in the back. We successfully drew out the Wigglytuff onto the field, which means the Guzzlord is going to face off against the Bastiodon. Now, Bastiodon, granted, has a lot of energy, but my Dugong as well is able to survive here, get the Icy Wind off to apply that much-needed debuff, and then we're going to come in with that Muck and look to fast move down, maybe get a little bit of energy, as a Thunder Punch or Dark Pulse could be pretty crucial here against the Bastiodon. Now, I make a mistake, and I decide... Well, actually, no, I didn't make a mistake. We're good right here. I thought I was going to be swapping out. I did these battles over the weekend, so I'm just casting it when I get back. But we have the Dark Pulse that we do land. I decide to swap in. Here's the mistake. I swap in now. I could have let the Muck just tank the Stone Edge, but we come into a Bastiodon with energy, and this is fine. Dragon Tail's still doing a good amount of damage. We will have to double shield here, so this is actually going to get pretty close, but we do have a good amount of health on our Shadow Muck still. So now I'm going to look to go for the double brutal swing. I'm trying to do as much neutral damage as possible. They probably are pretty scared to shield a Dragon Claw, so they let that one go. This now allows me to go for Dragon Claws because it should do enough damage, and they're going to be shielding, right? So we're going to go for the lower energy charge move. And then we, unfortunately, are about to get hit with the Smackdown. So look at the health remaining there on Bastiodon. We're able to survive barely. 1 Dragon Tail, 2 Dragon Tail. We go down, and 1 Poison Jab. And that is going to be a good game. Very well played. All right, moving to the next one. Muck, Guzzlord. Okay, kind of tough matchup for me, not gonna lie. I don't have great charge moves for this, and Dragon Tail is outpacing Poison Jab in terms of damage, so I'm gonna build up to Dark Pulse. I was hoping to be able to swap and maybe catch the charge move here, but they got to the Dragon Claw pretty quickly, so now I have to swap out with not a lot of health remaining. They do bring in a Toxapex, and this is a great opportunity here for me to still potentially win. The reason being, the best answer that they had to a Dugong was a Toxapex, which we do incredibly well against because of Drill Run. And Dugong, I've been saying it for a while for Go Battle League, Dugong is top meta, and now it is top meta performing in play Pokemon as well. So this is something, if you guys haven't built yet, it is definitely worth it. Now we're going to look to go for Icy Wind here. I'm suspecting they might want to give up a shield, but they don't. They actually let the Icy Wind go through, so now I'm forced to go for Drill Run to look to KO, and this is where they probably could give up a shield to try to maintain switch advantage. So we do get the ones there, but I decide to counter swap back into my Muck, and I go for Dark Pulse. That was a slight misclick on my end. I should be going for Thunder Punch. It's obviously super effective damage, but I don't run my Muck very often, and that was just kind of an instinct play, and I fumbled it a little bit. Would it have mattered? No, I don't think we would have been able to get to 2 Thunder Punches, and we would have been fast moved down anyways. So my hope right here, I'm going to pause this right here. My hope is, since Toxapex was their best answer into Dewgong, my hope is that they don't have a good answer for Guzzlord. I could be wrong, but I'm going to make a play to that, as if we would have seen a fighter come in if there was one in the back, or maybe a Charmer because of our Muck lead, right? So we're praying, we're hoping, we're going to let our own Guzzlord take this with 1 shield now remaining to a no shield matchup, and they decide to surrender. So that is going to be a good game. Very well played. Guzzlord obviously really hard countered. Thinking about it right now, we saw Guzzlord, we saw Toxapex. Wouldn't be surprised if it was a Lanturn back there. So that could have been the key Pokemon that they surrendered with, and which is why our own Guzzlord would have won the game for us. Good battle. All right, moving to the next one. Muck versus Talonflame. Okay, lots of fast move damage here on both sides. Poison Jab and Incinerate. But thankfully, we do have access to Thunder Punch. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that. It does do super effective damage. And then we're going to look to see what we can do here with Dewgong in the mid game as they decide to swap into Medicham. What I've noticed a lot of the times is if there is a flyer on the lead like this, there's typically going to be a fighter in the back. They really need to handle the potential Bastiodons, Registeels, stuff like that. So Medicham makes a lot of sense. Poliwrath could have made a lot of sense right there as well. Maybe Annihilate. So we draw it out with Dewgong. That's the whole point of running this kind of ABB formation in terms of weaknesses to fighting type Pokemon, because now Guzzlord is free in the back, and Guzzlord's going to be resisting those Incinerates as well. And look at that. Dewgong took Medicham to like no health points without having to give up a shield. So that's huge. Now, we're going to go ahead and come in with Guzzlord because I was not wanting to give up a shield. I'm going to pause right there. I didn't want to give up a shield on Psychic if they have it, or if they had it, I should say. Plus, we get a little bit ahead on energy, and now we get to see what they have in the back. So, they come in with Talonflame. This is huge. This is absolutely huge. I'm going to go ahead and give up a shield. Fearing the Brave Bird, obviously, got to respect it, and it was Brave Bird, so that's perfect. And they actually have a Superior in the back. This makes a lot of sense, and our Shadow Muck is very excited that we can swap in, as our opponent was forced to swap out. So this is going to be a really good setup for us. I think the Guzzlord is going to be taking this game, so I'm going to give it our final shield, meaning I'm not going to shield on the Muck here. I'm going to try to commit to the farm down. I was hoping to get to a Thunder Punch there. I'm going to no shield here. Again, we know the Talonflame has Brave Bird, so our win condition now is with Dragon Tail as a fast move. The Talonflame cannot get to 2 charge moves in time, so it has to throw here, and it has to land a Brave Bird, so I'm going to go ahead and shield. It is just Flame Charge, but you guys will see there's just not enough time for them left, and we can fast move down with Dragon Tail, and that's going to be a good game, very well played. Alright, moving into the next battle, we have Chargebug here on the lead. So Chargebug can actually do well against our backline. We saw it before how it performed against Dewgong. Granted, we were able to take that and almost flip it there, going 2 shields deep. But it also has access to X-Scissor, which can do quite a bit of damage to our Guzzlord. So we're going to try to take care of it with our Muck. Now I'm going to look to go for Dark Pulse here. It does a lot of neutral damage, and if they decide to no shield, I think it's going to be a critical knockout. Boom! Down it goes. Chargebug is gone. Feeling good. They come in with a Gligar, which is even better because now I can go for Dark Pulse. I'm going to look to swap out here into the into the Dugong, try to get some fast move pressure down on Gligar, and we draw out an Azumarill. This is perfect. The Azumarill, once again, much like other fairies like we saw today with Wigglytuff, the Azumarill can do pretty well against Guzzlord because it's resisting all of the moves that we have. Dragon Tail, Dragon Claw, and Brutal Swing. So we still have our Muck. It's going to be able to come in and farm down, and Dugong can really soften up the Blue Bunny here, even though they have Shield. So we're sitting in a very good position as Guzzlord into Gligar is still a good matchup because of our fast move pressure there with Dragon Tail. So Dugong doing what Dugong does, and that is just soften up and draw out those hardest counters to Guzzlord. We can let the Play Rough go through, easily survive. We're going to go ahead and try to go for double charge moves here, and I go for the Drill Run. This is obviously going to potentially KO, so I think we might get a shield, and I'm going to go for another one right away, and my opponent decides to make a beautifully timed swap into Gligar. I could have gotten away with Icy Wind right there, but now my opponent is Switch Lock, so I'm going to go ahead and come in with Guzzlord and just fast move down. My win condition for this game is obviously a shield into Shadow Muck to face off against the Azumarill there in the end game, so we can let that dig go through. Not too worried. This is totally fine. Azumarill with energy is the threat, so we let the Aerial Ace go through, and it is going to be coming in, so we're going to go ahead and go for Dragon Tail now. And Azumarill is actually pretty low, so the Dragon Claw and Dragon Tail combination here might just be... No, it's not even enough. Look at how bulky that Azumarill is. But it's going to go down quick. We have Shadow Muck with 50% HP. We have a shield. Azumarill cannot go for back-to-back charge moves. Even if it has max energy, it cannot throw 2 Ice Beams in time. So we're going to be taking this game. That is going to be a good battle to my opponent. Alright, that was the final one. Just some quick highlights there of this team. A lot of fun. I think pretty unique as well. Obviously, there could come some trouble if you can't get yourself an advantage in terms of energy, shields, or switch. If you run into the combination of a whiscash and a Skarmory, so hopefully that Dugong mid game for you can do pretty well. But Guzzlord actually does decent against Skarmory with Brutal Swing, neutral damage, and even the Dragon Tail fast moves do quite a bit, even though they're resisted. So hope you guys enjoyed today's video. This team was a lot of fun, very spicy. Happy to add Guzzlord to my roster so I can start building other teams around it in future seasons and specialty cups. It's going to be a lot of fun. So like always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.